Hello everyone. Today our group will explain how to do a literature review. My name is Ivan and we have Rin and Merlin and we are the group 3. In this presentation we will show you a simple step to understand and write a good literature review. We hope this session can help you in your study and your future research. Okay, now in this section we will learn through a few activities. The first, we have a presentation. Okay, so from the presentation, we will explain important parts of the literature review, such as what a literature review is, how to choose good resources, how to make research such statements, how to write notes, and how to write the final review of the literature review. And then we also have a game here, a small game called Literature Review Studio. So you can click on the link through your browser. Please use your laptop. So in this game, you can practice making a real literature review passage. And then we also have a common question. Okay, later we will share you the QR code. So in the common question, we include all the questions that students usually ask when writing a literature review. In the end, we will have a live Q&A session, so you can ask anything you want to know about the literature review. So in the next part, Lynn and Merlin will start the presentation first, and then I will explain in the final part on how to make a literature review.
I'm going to talk about how to do a literature review. A literature review helps us understand what have already been studied and it shows us where our research can make a meaningful contribution. First of all, we need to understand what is a literature review. We will review a literature to see why it is important to do the understand the existing knowledge in our topic area. It helps us avoid the repeated research. For the literature review process, it involves two main steps. First all, we need to searching for study and then organize what we find into clear terms. For example, if my topic is online learning, I may group the study into terms like motivation, teacher support, and technology use. Next, we can look the use of information source. When we reading, it is important to take a literature review note. This usually include the citation, the main idea, the method, and the key finding. We also follow the good structure and writing tip, such as starting with the general concept and moving to the more specific point. And then we can move into the writing the literature review. We need to think about the selection of potential resource. For example, using the journal article, conference paper, and the academic book rather than any random website. And we also need to create a search statement using the keyword and bullet operator like and or. Now I will explain what is literature review. In research, literature means a collection of published or unpublished studies that are related to a specific topic. For example, if I want to study online learning, that the literature would include a journal article, conference paper, and teach about online learning. All of these together we call the literature. Next, we have the concept of literature review. A literature review means we examine what have already been done about the topic. When we can say we look at the past studies to understand what other research already found. This can help us learn what we already know, what we still missing, and what we can do for the next of our research topic. The purpose of the literature review. The first purpose is to enrich your breadth of the knowledge. This means reading from the different studies help you understand more about your topic from many aspects. The more you read and the more you know. The second purpose is to identify information relevant to your research. Not everything you read will be useful, so the literature review helps you find a study that really support to your topic. And the third purpose, a literature review helps to identify a gap in the current research. When you compare to different studies, you may know something missing, something research have not studied yet. That the gap can become the focus of your own project. And finally, the literature review helps you clarify direction of your project. After you reading, you understand what others have done, what can decide what you can decide what you want to focus and how your project can make a contribution. And based on the four purpose can guide us to understand more, find what is useful, what is missing, and we can choose a clear direction for your research. The literature review process have two main steps. The first step is to search information resource. This means we collect all the material we need, such as the journal article, conference paper, book, and review website. For example, if my topic is online learning, I may search on Google Scholar or send direct to further study about study engagement or teaching strategy. The second step is to write a literature review. After we collect the information, we read it, we take a note, and then organize it in clear sections. For example, I may write one paragraph about the motivation in online learning, another paragraph about teacher support, and another about the technology tool. This will help my review become more clear and easy to understand. Now I will talk about the selection of potential resources. When we do a literature review, we need to choose a good source. Each type of source have a strength, also the weakness. First of all, we need to mention about the printed book. It is useful for the background knowledge, but they are usually less up to date. For example, a book published 10 years ago maybe not include the newest research or technology. For the journal article, it have reliable quality because they are peer reviews. For example, the article from the journal like Sunday Red or Computer and Education it are checked by the expert before publication. For the conference papers, it shows current direction of the research. For example, the paper from the IEEE conference, it often introduces a new idea earlier than the journal. For the thesis or dissertation, it's often difficult to obtain. For example, a master thesis may be stored only the one university library. It is not easy to access. For the electronic resources, such as random websites, are less reliable. For example, a blog post may not be the written by the research, or the information may be not accurate. For the newspapers and magazines, it are written for a general reader. For example, the new article talk about the trend, but they usually do not provide the academic theory or the research method. So, when we choosing the resource, we refer the academic source like the journal or conference, and we are more careful with the book, text, or the online materials. Now let's look at electronic information research. They are online tools and we use to find the academic information. In the first group, the electronic journal. Their website give us access to high quality journal article. For example, the Science Direct is a popular database where we can find many research papers in different fields. For other example, it includes the ACM Digital Library, IEEE Explorer, BIDS, or the on just academic source. For the second group is the search engineer. The search engineer help us find information more quickly, but we need to check if the sources are reliable. For example, Google can give us a lot of resources, but not everything so the academic. We must choose carefully. But the list of the search engineer such as AltaVista, Go, and Excite, it we work in a similar way. And we can say electronic journal give a strong academic research, while the search engineer help us search widely, but we need to evaluate the results.
First of all, I would like to talk about generation of search statements. So this is an example from Means et al. The example of a paper is from Evaluation Evidence-Based Practices in Online Learning. The research team began by identifying key terms central to their review, such as online learning, distance education, and blended learning. Because different studies use slightly different terminology, they included variations like a computer-based instruction and technology-supported instruction to broaden the search. They also review spelling and phrasing differences across databases. Finally, they combined these terms using Boolean operators. For example, online learning or distance education, and learning outcomes or achievement to retrieve studies that met their inclusion criteria. Minzetto selected keywords that reflected both instructional mode and measure outcomes in post-secondary contexts. Their search emphasized terms such as online learning, distance education, learning outcomes, and achievement, allowing them to identify studies that compared online and face-to-face instruction in higher education. To organize the search logically, the authors grouped related terms into wooden sets. For instance, they used combinations such as online learning or distance education paired with effectiveness or learning outcomes. This structure allowed the research team to systematically filter studies that examine how technology-supported instruction influences student achievement. A sample search expression from the review was online learning or distance education, and the learning outcomes or student achievement, and higher education or university. This Boolean structure helped the researchers look at empirical studies evaluating the effectiveness of online instruction in college level settings. This is another example, which is not from Minzetto, but written in similar academic style. Studies on online shopping attitudes often adopt Boolean structures similar to those used by Minzetto. For example, a researcher might search using gender or male or female, and online shopping or e-commerce, and attitude or perception. This strategy helps identify differences in how men and women evaluate trust, usefulness, or risk when purchasing online. Researchers commonly separate search terms into conceptual categories. For instance, trust-related terms such as trust, privacy, and security may be grouped together, while shopping-related terms such as online shopping and e-commerce from another group. These categories can then be combined using and/or to examine relationships between consumer trust and online purchasing behavior.
Now, this is my part. I will explain the literature review notes first. So, when we write a literature review, we must take a good notes. These notes help us understand the ideas from different authors. First, let's take a look at the purpose of the literature review notes first. We make notes to organize our thinking, to collect the important issue, to record useful quotation from the experts, and to prepare our list of the reference. Next, let's see how to make the notes. In your notes, you should write the bibliographic details and the short summary of the content. The summary can include the background information, quotation, or examples, the methodology used in the study, and the result, and also the conclusion. Good notes makes your writing easier and faster. The next part is the structure of the literature review. A good literature review has three main parts. The first is an introduction, body, and the last one is conclusion. I will explain each part one by one. In the introduction, we tell the reader the general topic we want to study. We'll explain why the topic is important, and we also mention the main problem we want to focus on. Then we explain the criteria we use to select and organize the literature. Finally, we show the trends or conflict from the previous studies. This helps the reader understand the background of our review. The second is the body. So this is the longest and most important part of the literature review. In the body, we start each paragraph with a short overview. We compare studies by showing their similarity or differences. We group the study by themes or subject headings, so the reader can clearly see the categories. We also explain the significance of each study, and we give summary for each group of studies. This part helps the reader understand what past research has found. The last part is the conclusion. In this part, we evaluate the overall status of the research. We explain the strength and the weakness found in the literature. We point out any gaps, problem, or inconsistency in the previous studies. Then we connect this finding to our research question and hypothesis. This conclusion helps show why our study is needed. Okay, next is the interesting things because we already collect so many theories, so many resources, right? So now, how to compare the theories in the literature review? So when we read the many studies, we cannot just list them one by one, right? We must compare the ideas. We can understand the differences, the similarity, and the main issue in the field. So there are three levels of the comparison. First is the basic comparison. The second is deeper comparative analysis, and the third one is the issue-based analytical, the highest one, the advanced level. The first one is the basic comparison. It is quite simple. So at this level, we look at two theories or two research directions. First, we examine the first theories, and then we explain its idea, how it works, and what it tries to do. Next, we examine the second theory. We explain also its idea and how it is the differences from the idea one. And then after that, we try to compare. We compare the two theory directly. We say what is a similarity and what is different. This is the simplest form of the comparison. The second level is a deeper comparative analysis. So In this level, we try to look more deeply. We do more than just compare the ideas. We look into the similarity, the differences, and the central issue of both theory. For example, both theory may have the same goal, but they may use a different method or focus on the different skills. We also check what problems or challenge each theory faces. This level helps us understand more the big picture in the research area. And the third level is the issue-based analytical comparisons. So this is the advanced level. So in this level, we do not only compare two theories, we compare them across the specific issue. For example, issue one, how theory A and the theory B explain this issue. In the issue two, how theory A and the theory C explain another issue. And the issue three, how theory B and theory C explain the next issue. This method shows a very deep understanding. We can see clearly how different theories connect, where they agree, where they disagree, and what gaps we can find for future research. And this type of comparison is very useful for writing a high quality review section. So, these three levels help us process theory in a clear and organized way. We start from the basic comparisons, move to the deeper analysis, and finish with advanced, the issue-based comparison. This makes our literature review part more stronger and more meaningful. Next, we talk about how to organize the literature review part. The first is we have the chronological order. So, in the chronological order, it means we organize the study by time from the oldest to the newest. You can see the color here, right? Okay. I hope the color help you to understand this article. So this help us see how the research has changed and improved often the year. This is the simplest one. And then the second is individual topic. So we group the study based on the different themes or subtopics. This is useful when the research area has many small categories. And then we also have the research methods. For example, experimental study, mixed method study, qualitative studies, or comparative studies. This helps us understand how different methods produce different findings. And the next part is the factorial variables. So, for example, studies that focus on the learner proficiency, vocabulary, writing accuracy, speaking clarity, or emotional response. This makes it easier to compare which variables strongly affect to the result. And the next is a problem to solution. We can also organize the review by the problem to solution. First, we explain the problem found in the field, and then we show how later research try to solve this problem, and this gives a very clear storyline from the top to bottom. And we have also cause to effect. We describe what caused the problem, right? And then we show the effect, what effect it has on the learning or evaluation. This method helps readers understand the connection between reasons and outcomes. And then we also have arguments and counter arguments. So we show one side of the debate, and then we present the opposite viewpoint. This method is useful when the research field has a disagreement or strong different opinions. And then we also have tips for writing literature review. Okay, the first is a timely publication. So this means you should include a recent studies, not only old ones. Research changes quickly, right? So we must update our reference quickly also. Using new sources help you review, stay relevant, and to the current knowledge. And then we also need detailed references. You must give full information like author, year, title, journal, and a page number. So this help the readers find the studies if they want to learn more. And we need to provide sufficient evidence because when we try to make a point, we need to support it with the example from the real studies. So we need sufficient evidence to make our writing more convincing and more reliable. And then we have to ensure that we follow the structural pattern. Start with the broad topic and slowly narrow it down. This helps your review more naturally from the general ideas to the specific details. And then we also need to follow the logical progression. Start with the earliest research and then move to the more recent studies. This show how the topic has developed over the time. And we also need provide a clear presentation. When we change the topic, we also need to change the paragraph as well. This makes your writing easy to follow and easy to read. So these tips can help you write a strong and organized literature review. By using updated studies, clear structure, and enough evidence, your writing will be more effective and more professional. So this is the end of our presentation. This is the summary how to do literature review. So first, we must make a good use of the information resources. This means searching widely, choose reliable sources, and keeping them updated. Just simple, use the Google Scholar, right? This is the simplest way. And the second, we should take a literature review notes while reading. This is important. Good notes help us remember important ideas and make writing easier later. And the third one, when we write, we should begin with the general topic, start broad, and then slowly move to more specific points. By using this simple step, we can write a clear, organized, and useful literature review. So, before we end our presentation, we have several. The next activity you can follow. The first is you can play the game, right? So the game is called Literature Review Studio. Okay, so we developed this game uh, in a very short time. So this is just a prototype. So in this game, you can practice making your own literature review visits, and then you can open it by type the link into your laptop browser or your PC browser. Just use your computer. Don't use a mobile phone because this game is not optimized yet for the mobile phone. And then in the game, you can choose a topic, enter your name, and start writing inside the game, inside the lab. This will help you understand how to apply what you learned today. And then another activity is the common question in writing a literature review. So you can scan the QR code here using a mobile phone. So inside you will get one a document. Inside the document, you can read the frequently asked question asked by the student when they write a literature review. And then the last one, we will also have a live session of the Q&A later after we totally finish our presentation. So now let me explain the rules of the game. It is quite easy. First, it is similar with our class activity. Arrange the sentence, right? You will see a pool of sentence, and your job is try to drag and drop each sentence into the correct part of the literature view. It is an introduction, the body, or conclusion, right? There is no win or lose in this game. The goal is just to practice and learn. But the more correct sentence you put in the right place, the highest your score will be. After you finish, the system will show you the feedback at the bottom of the page. You can read the feedback to understand which part you did well and which part you can improve. So just relax, enjoy the game. This is easy, very easy. Okay, this is the end of our presentation. Before we close our session, let me say thank you very much for your attention. We hope our presentation helped you understand more how to do a literature review in a clear and easy way. If you have any question, feel free ask us during the Q&A session later. We are happy to help. Once again, thank you from the group 3, Irfan, Rin, and Madeline.